Welcome to Raw Agenda, where we ask the questions no one else wants to ask and give the answers nobody else has the guts to say. I'm Ray, your host, and if you're looking for a podcast that's as real as your last awkward family dinner, then you're in the right place. Let's break it all down, but just a heads up, you might not leave this episode agreeing with me, but that's the point. Now, for those of you who are living under a rock, first of all, how are you still alive? Secondly, let me catch you up. In 2019, Jussie Smollett, a Empire actor, he claimed that he was brutally attacked on the streets of Chicago by two white men who shouted racist and homophobic slurs at him. They threw bleach on him and wrapped a noose around his neck. Now, at the time, we were all like, oh no, not in 2019. Oh no. So here's the thing though. This whole story starts to fall apart faster than a cheap knockoff sweater at a Black Friday sale. Plot twist, Chicago PD starts investigating, and guess what? The story doesn't add up. They find surveillance footage, witness testimonies, and hold your breath. Two brothers, by the way, were not white. These two brothers, they were not white. These were Smollett's buddies from the Empire set. So guess what they told the cops? That's right. They helped Smollett stage the whole thing. He paid them $3,500 to make it look real. Like $3,500 for a hoax. Now, you would think that Smollett would be like, all right, I messed up, my bad. But no, instead, he doubled down like a kid caught with their hand in a cookie jar and then still insists that they didn't take the last cookie. He goes on to trial and testifies that there was no hoax. Oh, really? So your MAGA country narrative was just a coincidental theme to spice up your evening stroll? Got it. Cool. Yeah. So fast forward to December 2021, and after all the courtroom drama, Smollett is found guilty on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct. So for translation, this guy lied so much that they had to send him to jail. They had to send him to jail just because he's lying so much. And guess what else? He was sentenced to 150 days in jail, 30 months of probation, and had to cough up $130,000. So the $130,000 was for restitution to cover the costs of the investigation. So he had to pay that back. Not bad for a couple hours worth of acting. Okay, but hold on. You would think that the drama would end there, right? Nope. Smollett appeals the conviction, arguing that the justice system was out to get him because he's Black and gay. Let's pause for a second, because while no one's denying that we need better systems for racial justice, buddy, this whole case was about race. It was about you getting attention for a fake attack. Like, that's like robbing a bank, then claiming you were discriminated against by the teller. Like, come on. Really? Okay, so where are we now? Well, in March 2024, Smollett's legal team took their appeal to the Illinois Supreme Court, claiming that he should be punished for the hoax because he already did community service and paid back some of the money. So they're asking for the charges to be dropped because he supposedly got a deal from prosecutors before everything blew up. But plot twist again, the court just agreed to hear his appeal. I don't know whether to laugh or cry at this point. Listen, there's so many layers to this. Smollett is claiming it's all a political conspiracy, but at this point, no one's buying it. I mean, how many times can you spin a story before it just becomes embarrassing? So embarrassing. Let's just say this. Smollett's acting career may have been suspended indefinitely, and this is one plot twist I don't think he saw coming. Look, we want to support victims of hate crimes. But Jussie Smollett, he's the boy who cried wolf. And guys, the wolf, he's still out there. Let's just hope that no one else feels the need to stage their own attack for clout. Okay? In this world, you can't fake the truth. You can't fake the truth. Okay, so we've talked about the whole Jussie Smollett mess, how one big lie really turned everything upside down. But here's the thing. Not every story that shakes us up is a hoax, right? Some of them hit you differently because they're real, like actually real. Take Laken Riley's story, for example. It's a whole different kind of tragedy, but one that demands just as much attention. So you may have heard about the case of Laken Riley, the young woman whose life was tragically taken by an illegal immigrant, Jose Ibarra. This isn't just another news story for me, okay? It's personal. It's devastating. Really. Incredibly sad. Before Laken's life was so violently stolen, she wrote a letter to her future husband. I want to read you a part of it. To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be. I'm working through my current relationships to best prepare me for ours, for our future, for our kids. Imagine that. A woman with her whole life ahead of her. Planning, dreaming, building, and then it's gone, just like that. Think about this when you hear talk about mass deportations. You know, I won't apologize for saying this. I will cheer when I see millions of illegal immigrants being sent back to their countries. If we can stop just one more tragedy like this, it's worth it. I'm not here to sugarcoat reality. These are lives that are on the line. Let's not ignore the bigger picture. While we're talking about Laken, let's also talk about what's happening at the border right now. A massive caravan is trying to storm the border before Trump even takes office. This isn't just migration, it's an invasion. And for our government, they're handing out taxpayer-funded flights for people who should not even be here. Laken Riley fought for her life for 18 minutes. 18 minutes, think about that. Do you think that I'm just going to sit back and let that go unnoticed? Absolutely not. Do you think I'm going to stay quiet while people make excuses? Absolutely not. Her killer's roommate, the same man who murdered Laken, just testified that they went to the Roosevelt Hotel together in September 2023 and took a taxpayer-funded flight to Georgia. You heard that right. So your tax dollars, my tax dollars, were used to fly a gang member to another state where he had went on to kill. This is beyond infuriating. I know some of you are tired of hearing about politics, but it's time we face some facts. Laken Riley's murder should have never happened. We need to protect the truth. We need to protect the narrative before it's buried under another wave of distractions. I'll say this once more. January 20th can't come soon enough. So, from one heartbreaking story to another, let's switch gears a little bit. While Laken Riley's tragic situation really makes you think about the cracks in our system, there's another name that's been popping up a lot lately. Matt Gaetz. Yes. And let me tell you, this guy is no stranger to controversy. We're talking about a politician that's in the midst of some serious legal drama. And trust me, it's not looking pretty. Let's break down what's going on with him and why this case is making waves in Washington right now. Let's dive into the world of politics, where nothing is as it seems and scandals are part of the landscape. Take the case of Matt Gaetz, for example. Now, I know this guy's not exactly on everybody's radar, but his recent withdrawal from consideration for Attorney General under Donald Trump really highlights something bigger, something that we can't ignore. Scandals like this don't just affect the people involved. They erode the trust we have in the system. But let's be real, who trusted Washington anymore anyways, right? So this is not just about one man's career being derailed. It's about what this says about our government as a whole. A politician facing a federal investigation for sex trafficking is a big deal. But the bigger issue here is what's getting swept under the rug, and that is government corruption. Here's where the problem lies. Our political system has become so entrenched in scandal that it's no longer a question of if someone's involved in corruption or not, but who's involved and to what degree. Every time a scandal like this erupts, it reminds us of the uncomfortable truth that many of our leaders have been more interested in self-preservation than in actually serving the people. That doesn't do a whole lot of good for our trust. It makes it harder and harder to believe that anyone is in this for the right reasons. Matt Gaetz might be the latest example, but this is not a new phenomenon, trust me. From campaign finance violations to backroom deals to scandals like this are the fuel that feeds the fire of distrust in our political system. And while some might try to defend these figures, claiming that they're victims of some kind of witch hunt, we can't ignore the fact that these situations keep on happening. The question is, how much longer are we willing to pretend that it's just a few bad apples? At the end of the day, the more that these scandals unfold, the more we realize that our leaders aren't as untouchable as they would like us to believe. The public's trust? Well, it's been on life support for a while now. And scandals like Gaetz aren't helping. So by embracing this new direction, I truly believe that we can restore the trust that has been lost and build a stronger alliance moving forward, with the new cabinet forming around figures like Tulsi Gabbard and Vivek Ramaswamy and RFK Jr. and others who are ready to challenge the status quo. We have a real opportunity to create a future that's more unified and transparent and grounded in the values that matter the most to us. That is it for today's episode of Raw Agenda. If you learned something today, or if this made you think, don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a comment. The truth is out there. We just have to find it and never stop questioning.